Welcome to Maid's Future Drought Fund Fireside Chat with John Hanley, a fourth generation farmer near Avoca. Hello, John.
G'day, Joe. How you going?
Not bad. How are you?
Bloody cold.
Yes, it is winter. But thank you for taking the time today to have a quick chat with us about the Future Drought Fund project. Can you describe to us your farm and the sort of main challenges that you face during a drought?
Our farm used to be a mixed farm running sheep for wool production and cropping, but in the last couple of years we've turned to all cropping. Our main challenges with drought are you don't make any money. It's a lot harder on people, stress levels and things like that. So, and that becomes an issue, not so much with me, but with farmers, mental health and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, you can lose soil and all that type of thing, but we've come away from those days when that used to happen in the 80s and early 2000s. So, but yeah, they're the challenges with droughts.
Okay. So, what motivated you to get involved in the Future Drought Fund Commonwealth project?
The focus on that project was in the soil and not focused on changing genetics for the wheat varieties growing or bringing other varieties in from drier climates, Middle East or wherever. It was focusing on the soil. I've always been interested in the soil, so that's what created my interest in that. And yeah.
Okay, that's really good. So, what did you learn through the project as being a trial site farmer? What was your sort of most useful takeaway?
The biggest thing I learned on that was that using digestate, and I didn't even know what that was before I started the project, and a lot of farmers wouldn't. But using that in conjunction with trace elements that are not there, whether they're the macro or the micro ones, that come through in the results. So that's the main thing I really learnt in that.
Okay, cool. And if you had a message for sort of policymakers about supporting drought resilience, what would you like to share with them?
Look, I think they've got to start to focus a bit more on the soil. We're talking drought, so we're talking about lack of water. If we can hold a bit more water in the soil and keep it there so that the plant that we're trying to grow can utilise it, we're so much further ahead. We get rains outside the growing season for wheat, barley or whatever the crop is you're growing. I, as a farmer, have got no influence on the amount of rain that falls on my farm, but I can have a big influence on the amount of water that I keep in the soil through loss of evaporation or whatever. And I think that these people that are doing projects have got to look at how we can keep more water in the soil, and instead of trying to say, yeah, it's a drought now, we've got to give some money out to try and save some farmers. But they've got to start looking at this before we have droughts. And unfortunately, we had a dry year for our trial last year. But anyway, that's history, and it was just very unfortunate that that trial didn't go on for 3 or 4 years so that we could have got an average of things.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you. And now that you sort of completed the trials, what have you learned in terms of what would you do differently to face another drought in the future?
Well, you never know it's going to be a drought until it's actually there. So you've got to do these things before the drought comes along, or you've got to start. We would definitely seed treat seed, whether it's all our seed or not, but we would definitely seed treat seed with a digestate and also put it out in a couple of stages in the growing time. Also, the use of the trace elements with the digestate proved to be the big thing in the trials. And the trial sites, and I helped a little bit in the trial doing checking things and measuring things, and it was a very thorough trial. So I could see the difference through the year as we were doing that. and we picked a very poor spot in hindsight for our trial place. That's history, but yeah, so I could see a lot of those things, and yeah, we will implement that. We've started this year and we didn't seed dress, but we will try and do the digestate out a couple of times, and yeah, we'll look into trace elements. I've been putting some trace elements on over the years, but we've got to look at that a lot more in depth.
Okay, that's really good. So thank you for that quick chat, which is sincerely appreciated. Thank you for being a brilliant trial farmer. It was great to work with you, and thank you for spending the time today to have a quick chat. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Joe.